just had this amazing sit-down talanoa with Julia Pahina, one of the most inspiring women in tech that I've ever met.
You cannot be found unless you put your flame up. That was how I landed my first big break in technology at 24.
Growing up from a single mother, in Grey Lynn, going through all of that, using all of that struggle to get her into working all over the world for some of the biggest tech companies.
Working in places like Sydney, London, and San Diego, it was incredibly tough to navigate those rooms and those spaces.
To one day having this, life-changing event happen to her and realizing that there was something missing.
When I was working in America, I was drugged and robbed and kidnapped on a work trip.
There was an emptiness in her life, and it was service, the need and the want to give back to people.
I just really love her, and I just really love that, she trusted me.
If you have a daughter or you're a young woman, young entrepreneur, wanting to get into something, not sure where to go, you must watch this conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Julia Pahina, enjoy. So last week we won Best Māori Pasifika Podcast, and we got third in Best Interview and Best Educational Podcast. I just want to take a moment to thank you all. Thank you all of our amazing listeners, our community. When we started this only 9 months ago, I never would have thought we'd be here. I never would have thought that we'd win these awards. I just wanted to tell amazing stories and inspire people, to show people it's possible. And that's what this is all about. So don't forget to click that subscribe button. 80% of the people watching on YouTube aren't subscribers. Just take a second to subscribe. It enables us to keep telling these stories and keep showing people that no matter where you start in life, that it is possible. Thank you so much, team. Unfiltered with Dave Latelli is proudly part of the Acast network. Julia, thanks so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I was late. There's got to be some kind of AI or something that can help me organize my life.
Okay, Dave, there's two ways I could view this. One of which is, yes, technology is the tool that could enhance your life. However, what is it about Dave's life that is really inhibiting him from being able to manage his time? Is he got too much on his plate? Is he overloaded with too many demands? Is there not enough team around him that is able to be delegated tasks? So yes, technology could be the answer, but there's also a whole bunch of things that are actually contributing factors. And the only reason why I say that is so often we can look at tech as like the answer, the solution, the silver bullet, when in fact there's actually maybe some deeper rooted stuff, or there's actually some stuff behind the scenes that if just a couple of tweaks were made, maybe you wouldn't need technology in the first place.
I feel like as soon as I sat down with you, and then in this real calming voice, you said, "So Dave, how are you?" It's like I feel like I'm in a therapy session. But
yes,
it's so true. You got to look at the root causes. That's something that this government doesn't do very well. Look at the root causes.
I love how you perfectly plugged that in. And it's true. I mean, even as we're talking about technology, so much of the conversation of the government's national AI strategy, it's all about productivity, benefit. But for who? What is productivity? Who's getting the surplus benefit? If right now here in Aotearoa we don't have equal access to Wi-Fi at home, if not every student has a high-functioning laptop or a way in which they're able to use it with skills and literacy and confidence, then who is actually getting ahead with AI? And who are you really talking about with benefits? Those are a very small group of people that might be getting ahead with AI, and there's a whole bunch of people that are being left behind.
What's the stat in terms of our Pasifika workforce just here in Auckland? Yeah,
it's really scary. There's a new piece of research that's about to be launched from the Auckland Council and from MB, and it came out with that at least 60% of our Pasifika workforce here in Auckland alone are at risk of automation. And automation means finding machines to be able to do things better than a human is kind of like a simple way of describing it, or it's a business's decisions to automate, change it from handwriting to now it's digital writing, or in a process where there's manual labor being used in a factory line, now to be using machinery or robotics. Now 60% totals almost 69,000 individuals, roughly as a number. But as we know, Dave, individuals, it's not just one person, it's a whole family unit. It's an intergenerational impact that will come out of this. And so 69,000 is an enormous number for the way in which this might shift the outcomes for our people and for Aotearoa as a whole.
That's just nuts. And that's what, when you say, like, when they're talking about benefits,
Yeah.
it is only a small amount of people. It's really those up here, right, that are going to benefit, and everyone down here, it's to their detriment.
Completely. And AI is already being used in our society right now, and some people aren't even aware. Like examples of Pack and Save, they've been using facial recognition technology. They've been testing it out. I know that there are some other retailers and industry groups that are considering implementing facial recognition technology. But what is the data that's been trained on? If you're looking at historical data, what are the biases within that data? And how might that impact Māori and Pacific communities if we are overrepresentative in negative statistics that is being trained to create these technology systems that then are infiltrating our society?
Where did you grow up? Where did it all
Oh
start?
my gosh, where did it all start? So I am the proud daughter of a solo mum. I was brought up by my beautiful mother here in Grey-Lynn, pre-gentrification. I always want to say that because we could never afford to live there again. But was brought up by my beautiful mother in Grey-Lynn in Auckland, and spent some time here during my primary school years here. And growing up with a mother that's like a staunch, fierce, independent woman, and is also very much a justice warrior, it was really, really, really demonstrated to me that I could be anything, or if I wanted to be, she tried to always instill in me, the world is your oyster. Now, I also was brought up in a time where, 32 years ago, it wasn't very common for a European woman to have a brown daughter, and in a way that my father wasn't really around at the early stages of my life. And so that dynamic too brought a lot of challenges for us, a lot of challenges for my mum, obviously. And so I was also brought up in a way where I was constantly trying to figure out, well, how does society respond to me? How is society treating me based on our dynamic, our family dynamic, the color of my skin? And so growing up, I felt like I was always on this journey of just trying to figure out, how does somebody that doesn't fit in a perfectly placed box, how do you survive or thrive or navigate the world? And so did some of my schooling in Auckland and in Christchurch, went and tried to do law, failed gloriously at law. I always say, if you're going to fail, don't fail half-hearted, fail all the way. And came through that and then started working into the tech industry. And I've worked so far in Auckland, Sydney, London, San Diego, and over in Ghana. And it was through my time working in technology that I start to recognize more and more that I'm actually really afraid of how this is going to roll out and how this is going to impact people in the world. And when I started to look at the tech gap or the progression of technology, the size of the jumps every time we were making these big breakthroughs, but also the rate of change, I got really fearful around, well, what about those communities that are not sitting at this table, that are not part of this room? And in particular, that was Pacific communities. So I was 24 years old, working as a strategic planner of United Kingdom and Ireland for HP, pretty wild. And I decided I'd email Jacinda Ardern, who was our current Prime Minister, just like a very typical millennial thing you do. You're going to try and change the world. So I found her on LinkedIn, and I emailed her, and I was like, I'm just really concerned, what are we doing and with the fourth industrial revolution, and how are we going to be mitigating human displacement because of AI? And this was, that was like, what was it now? 8 years ago, I started realizing, oh no, I'm working in this industry. I'm proud of myself for getting into the tech industry because that's a glass ceiling I broke through. However, how is this technology going to be negatively impacting our collective, our society? And therefore, what is my moral duty to do something about it? Do I even have one? And so I started this journey, and I left my corporate role and that comfortable life, or that secure life.
You went all in.
Far out, that financially secure life, to come in and go all in into community. So I left and landed back February 2020. That's almost 6 years ago now. And I've been building my social enterprise and been trying to drive change in our community ever since. So yeah, it was definitely an accumulation of seeing my mum be somebody who stands up for what's right, for what she believes in, going on a journey of understanding where do I belong and who are those that are not being included in rooms and in society, and also working in the coalface of the tech industry, seeing the kind of minds and the people that are just focused on forward movement. They are never looking back. They are never looking back to the path of damage that they've done. They are only thinking about what's the new revenue cycle, what are the profit benefits, what is going to be the returns for shareholders. And so that all of those things have kind of accumulated to become this version of me now that, has built Fibre Fale.
That's, when you first got into the tech space, were there many Pasifika in that space, and what's it like now?
No, absolutely not. So about 3 years ago, it was reported that there's 2.8% of Pacific people working in tech. That has sort of moved up to 4.4%. You know, as a community, we make up close to 8% of society. So we're still way off from representation of our demographic. But also working in globally in technology, working in places like Sydney, London, and San Diego. No, I was like one of one.
Wow.
Literally one of one, or maybe one of two people in all of HP, which, you know, is a Fortune 50 company, 50,000 employees. And I barely saw any Pacific Island person, if not zero, or let alone Samoan person. And then also being a young woman, a young brown woman in my 20s, like it was incredibly tough to navigate those rooms and those spaces on my own.
How did you do it? Did you feel like, the inferiority complex, imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
What was that? Did you feel any of that when you first got into that space? How'd you get through it?
Oh my gosh. So I never got A+, okay? I was never an A+ student. School and university and all those things, I was kind of just trying to figure out my way through it. So when I got accepted into this role at 24, I was waiting, and it was a 6-month probation period, right? So 6 months where you're figuring out, have I made it or not? And I left Sydney after 2 weeks later from getting the job by myself, 2 suitcases, just me. I'd never lived in London before in my life, moved over there on my own, and I spent 6 months waking up every single day saying, am I good enough to be here? Are they going to find out that I didn't get any A+, or I only got one? Like, someone's going to find my university transcript and realize she's a fraud, like she's not who she says she is. And so I really had to build that resilience muscle, that muscle to go, okay, I'm fearful, I'm scared, and I'm showing up anyway. I'm going to choose to show up, because what's the worst that could happen? I stay where I am, and things don't get better. I stay in the current situation, or I choose to show up. I choose to navigate this fear, and actually things might change on the other side of that. So I had a lot of like internal self-talk. I'm not also going to lie that I spent days where I'd just be crying on my way to work. I had 6-hour commutes a day.
6 hours?
6 hour, 45 minutes. 6 hours commutes a day of 3 hours to an office and 3 hours back in London. It was brutal. And again, I was in my 20s on my own, single by myself. My family was on the other side of the world. And so there was a lot of things people don't know about, I guess, what it takes to move into those spaces, and then I guess what you've been through. There's that quote, I don't look like what I've been through. And I think that's incredibly, incredibly true, because I went through so many different situations of sexual harassment, of microaggressions. When I was working in America, I was drugged and robbed and kidnapped on a work trip. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Like,
so talk to us about that.
Yeah, I was in my 20s. We had a full day of visiting. It was in Los Angeles. I was a global social strategy lead, and we were visiting all of our social media partners. So it was crazy. We were visiting Snapchat, Facebook.
Wow.
You know, we were visiting all TikTok. Like, here I am, this daughter of a solo mum coming out from Aotearoa, from Auckland, that's visiting and being introduced as, I'm the global social strategy lead of a major tech company. And we had a beautiful team dinner, and we were all hanging out. And myself and a co-founder, we had our drinks spiked. And we were also put into an Uber that didn't end up being a professional Uber. So it was essentially, when we went to the police later on, they said there's actually like a gang, like a gang group that runs out of that one institution where everybody's in different positions or different placements. So we ordered what we thought was an Uber, but because we'd had our drinks spiked, they turned the Uber off and they just drove us for over an hour outside of LA, had our passport stolen, phone. I was really lucky that I wasn't physically assaulted and that I wasn't also trafficked, because of that is a real reality. And we were dropped off, or not dropped off. Sounds like we were just put on the side of the road. No, we were shoved outside of the car and left on the side of a highway outside in the middle of nowhere in Los Angeles. And it was terrifying. Like, it was absolutely terrifying. And, you know, if you've ever been to America, if you saw somebody that was waving your car down on the side of the road, people are not stopping. Yeah. People are not stopping. So I was there standing on the side of the road, waving and waving, just hoping and praying, and again, being like absolutely terrified around, you know, where I am, and also what are people going to think of me, and being so afraid of that as well, of being afraid of that situation. And it just happened, and this is when I really sort of have a belief in divine timing, or the universe is looking out for you, your ancestors are, that it just happened that the only car that pulled over just happened to be a Samoan man.
Wow.
So straight away I was like, where are your villagers from? Like I just tried to find any form of like connection to help him know I'm safe. Like I'm not crazy. Like I'm safe, and we've had this really terrifying situation happen, and can you help us get back to where we were staying? And so, that was probably one of the most traumatic situations I've ever had in my career. And it's where actually the change in my direction really came from, because had something more sinister happened to me, like had I, experienced any other form of assault or we're not going to be here today, would I have been proud of where I was at? Would I have been proud of what I was doing? And it was an easy no. And that's really where I wanted to have that value alignment, that life alignment. And so after that situation was very much where I started to navigate, well, how do I find my way out, and how do I find my way home and find my way in a calling to serve?
Yeah. Service. You can't beat it. People often say to me, like, why do you do this? And I just think it's like, for me, I feel like it's a miracle that I'm here. So
Totally.
I can't waste that miracle. And that's why I just have to help others. Is that what it feels like to you?
Oh, totally. Like I know what it feels like. I have a version of what it feels like for me to be dead while alive, to feel like I'm this hollow shell of a person, that I'm operating in these rooms and these spaces where I'm meant to feel something. I can only imagine it would be like climbing to the top of Mount Everest, except you feel nothing. And I pursued, thinking that this was what success looked like or felt like or should be like. But I felt nothing inside. And after that situation happened, which again, that could have gone in a really different direction. I could have not been here today. And after that, there was no going back. There was no going back for me. The only way forward was to go all in and to navigate and figure out, well, what is my place in society of making a difference? Because there are so many different ways of making a difference. And we just talked about that before, that, well, where is my value amongst all of those that are making a difference, amongst of all of the change that's happening around us? What's my special sauce, or what's my superpower to add into that mix? And that's also part of the challenge of figuring that out, because you might be aware of, I want to make a difference, but then the next part is the execution. And a lot of people don't realize what it takes to be an executor. Ideas are amazing. Ideas and want and will is beautiful, but execution, you're going to get naked in yourself with that side.
Yeah. People say to me all the time, man, like, people wanting to start something, want to start a charity or NGO, have an idea, and they come to me like, I've got this magic answer.
Yes.
Like, how have you done it? Or how did you get money to help people?
Yes.
And I said, you're thinking about it totally the wrong way. Like, if you've just got to start.
You've just got to start. You've got to build traction. You've got to make momentum happen. You've got a lot of things that one line that I'd really go back to is you've got to build your own break. Your break doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
You build it, and you build it by showing up in the world. You build it by trying stuff. There's this term around increasing your serendipity surface.
Serendipity surface.
It's increasing. I know, it's very corny, but just roll with me here. Essentially, it's increasing the amount of surface area space for serendipity to arrive, or for opportunities to be sparked. So for example, had I have never have said yes to Festival of the Future, had I not have increased my surface area for more people to see me, you wouldn't have found me. So how do you think about increasing your serendipity surface so that the things that you're looking for might happen, that you'll increase your chances, you'll build your own luck, you'll meet the universe halfway? And that's something that I don't think people maybe realize as part of the journey is you've got to do it when there's no outcome. You've got to do it when there's no certainty. You've got to do it when you look cringe or feel cringe or people are laughing at you, because you never know how that might end up triggering something a few years down the track, 1 month down the track. Maybe at the end of the day, who knows? But increasing your serendipity and your surface, increasing your chances of building your own luck and meeting the universe halfway is so much of what this journey entails.
Man, I just feel so motivated.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about, building our own table.
Yeah.
And you know, what you said to me is that's a good soundbite, but it's actually very hard to do.
Totally.
So how can we do that? What's
Yeah.
involved with building your own table in this, you know, in this world we live in?
It's you know, that idea that you want to sit at the table, and having a seat is one form of success or one form of creating change. And the next iteration of that is to go, oh, well, if the system itself is already broken, if there's already biases baked into it, if there's already cultural norms and worldviews that mean that the seat in which you occupy, you actually can't shift that much, you actually can't influence or create the changes that you're wanting to, that the next option is for you to go and build your own table. The part of that I think is really, really important for us to all recognize is we're not operating in a silo of society. We're not operating in our own islands. We're operating within a collective space. And yes, Fibre Fale absolutely has built our own fale, has built our own space. But the amount of which we still need industry collaborations, industry support, industry engagement to even care about what we're doing in order to create collective change is still it's still part of the difference that we have to make. It's still part of the reality. We're not living in our own separate space. And equal to that is the amount of investment that you need to build that table. And I'm not just talking about like financial investment. I'm talking about like community connection, community alignment, cultural alignment, having people all get around you and not having your own people try and tear you down. That's so much of the journey too. Like there's been times in which we've put on different events and spaces and places, really hoping that it would create change, really hoping that would see beautiful outcomes. And not everyone's going to show up for you. Not everybody always wants to be part of what you're doing or be part of creating that table. Not, you know, there's that line, everyone wants a village, but no one wants to be a villager.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. Geez, that's a good one. Everyone wants to be a village, but no one wants to be a villager. Wow. That is a good one.
And it's so true that we have to keep showing up, but the time it takes to build that table is going to be years.
Yeah.
It's not an overnight fix. There is no overnight fix. The amount of systemic and systematic change that goes into creating a new structure and a new system is enormous. And yet sometimes the impatience of others, of high expectations of why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you helping? It's like, I'm also personally just trying to survive too.
Yeah.
It's massive. So I totally believe in building our own spaces, building our own systems and societies and kind of like structures, and just recognizing and needing to have self-compassion for just what that takes and what you're up against, given that the existing traditional norms are so ingrained, are so entrenched. But I will say is that's the only option. There is no other option. That if we don't believe in our own dreams and visions and ways in which the future should look like or could look like, then the system itself is one.
Yeah.
If we stop dreaming, imagination is a form of social resistance. Dreaming something to be, dreaming that something could be different is a form of saying, I disagree with how the world is. And the next part of that is always execution.
Do you think it's possible for us to build our own table and invite who we want there?
Is it possible for us to all get along? Oh, it's a tough one. I mean, I hold out active hope, and I use the word active really intentionally. It's not passive hope of like I wish it will, and that's all I'm going to do. I believe in active hope that we have to start demonstrating what that looks like, demonstrating that collectivism is the only way, community is the only way, cooperating, collaborating. What's scary for me right now is, given the way of society and the divisiveness of society, people are opting for self-preservation. How do I save myself? How do I save my family, myself, my household, me? And yet that's exactly what's making us weaker in terms of our social fabric. The only way forward for us to have collective power as the peoples, given there's a concentration of power in monopolies and corporates and government, is through our numbers, is through the connections that we have together. Strengthening that is how we build momentum against the concentration of power over here.
Yeah. Just reminds me, I went to a big funding meeting with government, with Pasifika, and all the Pasifika groups, and this was like grassroots Pasifika groups.
Yeah.
And I turned up there, and I don't often go to these ones, but sometimes I turn up and cost us money, so I try not to turn up to things, but got the team to go do
Or
that.
you sign people up to everything? You sign your company up to everything?
I went there, and because of all the, the health people are going to be there.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
And I just got up and I said, look, we're being set up to fail here because I know what it takes to do what they're asking us, and it takes a lot more than the money that they're giving each of us. Why don't we combine all of us? We all do it together. We pool the money. We each do what we're good at,
Yes.
and we can be a success. Because if we don't, we're going to fail, and then the system will say, well, we gave them a chance, and now they're going to take that money all away. We'll never get it back. But no one, I said, I've got to go now.
Yeah.
Here's Fortino. She's our COO. Come up and see her and let's do it.
Yeah.
But no one came up. It's crazy because everyone thought that little bit of chump change was a lot of money.
Yeah.
But because they've never had that.
Yes.
But they don't, it's like, we just knew it's nothing. We can do it because we're already doing it.
Yeah.
It just, we just continue on. But yeah, it was quite disheartening.
I think I'd really try and hold this space of holding compassion for so many of those groups, and even within our space, that not everyone is working together on the same issue. Not everyone wants to, but also, do we expect that of others? Do we expect that from other health organizations and groups for them all to work together? I don't know. Have we just normalized that, okay, you've got your land, you've got your space, you've got your sector, you've got your lane, and you're all meant to win, and you're all going to play off like Hunger Games, and that's how the world is. And I know we're trying to create and go back to our ancestral ways, go back to community connection, cultivating collaboration with one another, and like being mission orientated. If we're all going after this one mission and we all work together on it, then that mission is more likely to succeed. And I recognize that for so many people, they'll be terrified of that because of what's been normalized. And also, when you go back to reporting, just like you said, Dave, what's the data? Who did more? Who did the most? So you got 100K there and they got 300. Well, what does the data tell me about who did the best social return on investment? All of those levers creates the behavior that you see in that room. And just being like quite cognizant of that. And that's why I go back to creating this new table, trying to shift those levers, trying to shift who we're all getting funding from. That's going to be part of influencing the table we can even imagine or create. So I don't know, I think I have now having been in this space for almost 6 years, I have a lot more capacity for the gray area and for seeing, I guess, not just seeing the people, but seeing the systems behind it that is creating the behaviors.
Yeah. What's the goal of Fibre Fale?
Oh my goodness. The goal of Fibre Fale is to create a movement of transformative change makers of Pacific people that are influencing the mainstream system and birthing a new Pacific-centered tech system. So it's the and it's how do we start to see ourselves not just as individuals working in the tech space, working in some of these major organizations, but how do we also start to believe in our own ideas, our own visions, our own creations for what technology could and should look like that meet our collective benefit and our collective goals. I would love for there to be more Julia and Eteroas across Aotearoa. I think that would be both a brilliant and scary reality to just see more proud brown women that are going about believing in their ideas and their dreams and making them happen and building businesses, building social enterprises, building charities, whatever that looks like that definitely inspires me too. So even if the existence of Eti and I inspires somebody that, yes, we used to work in the tech sector and then we decided that actually we're going to go about this in a very different way and we're going to create change from the outside and create change back into our communities, into our homes. And they see that, again, 2 young brown women in our 20s went out and fought for that and built that and have done that. Like that to me would just be like a beautiful dream come true for the journey of Fibre Fale.
It's powerful, man. I was watching, when Eteroa got the Young New Zealander of the Year and just seeing how happy you were.
Yeah.
How did it feel? It's like, I love seeing my people win.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. We've been told that people don't really think that Eti and I would be friends. We come from really different realities of what it means to be a Samoan woman, a Pacific woman. And when Eti and I first met, and this was like years ago now, I always said to her, Ete, you have to go further than I do. You have to shine brighter than I ever could. And I want that for you. And I'm here in your life to be whatever version of a supporter I can be so that you shine as the multifaceted diamond that you are. And so when she won, like I'm almost feeling like I'm going to start crying. She's so grounded. She's such a beautiful human. She gives so much. I was relieved that the judges saw that. You know, there's probably people with bigger numbers and bigger this and that and fancier companies, but when they could see the value of all of who Ete is, all of what she represents, all of her story, it was one of the best days of my life. Like, I love my husband, I love my dog, but seeing Ete win that, being there, knowing that I've been able to play this tiny little role in her life and help her self-belief and self-confidence and to shed more light on this human that she changes the world just by existing. She will forever make this world a better place than when she first found it, just through existing.
Man, you're a great friend. You can just feel it come through, like when you're talking about her. It's amazing, sis.
I just really love her. I just really love her, and I just really love that, you know, she trusted me because, you know, her reaching a role in corporate technology was a success for her and for her family. And so when I was this, you know, and I know you know this, you're the crazy visionary that's like, come follow me. Come on, guys, come do this. And, you know, you're always, you got to really believe in yourself that you can pull it off. But when I was entrusted and looking after, and like I take it to a really financial security, when I was entrusted with making sure that she had a salary for years to come and that I was able to raise enough funding so that she was safe, her family, you know, I take that so seriously for people that I hire, that I'm responsible for their livelihoods. And I remember going down there and I met with her family and I gave her like her first briefcase, her first like professional handbag. And we were sitting with the family and her family made like all of these amazing scones and we just sat there eating like, you know, I know you know what scones taste like because
I love a cheese scone.
There's cheese scone this morning. And I felt like they really trusted their daughter with me. And that's not a small thing. That's not a small thing. So I just feel so grateful that we've been able to live this life together, take that leap when she did resign from her corporate role and come on to the journey of Fibre Fale full time, and her family come to everything. They come and support us. They're our biggest advocates and champions. And yeah, I have so much love for her.
Man, that just feels so good. This is amazing. Last question that I ask everyone that's come on. What's your why? What drives you?
There's three main values that drive me: justice, people, and futures. Justice is a huge part of who I am and what I believe in. It's what also gets me into trouble. Especially when you have taken on funding, you've got to be very careful. But justice is a huge driver for me, what's right and wrong in the world and what I believe is right and wrong in the world. People, humans, humanity, community, society, my community. Huge driver of why I do what I do. I care about others. I deeply care about others. And futures, I care about what the future is looking like and the future that we're inheriting. I'm afraid of that, and I believe the only way to change something is by dreaming something could be different and doing something about it. I'm not somebody that would just stand on the sidelines. I'm somebody that's in the arena getting my butt kicked, but at least I'm trying. I'm trying to make a difference. I'm trying to believe that the future could be different. And then just personally, I guess on another level of like what's my why is, why not? Yeah. Why wouldn't I give myself to making a difference?
I love it. And Julia, thank you so much for joining me. I think this is one of the most inspiring conversations that I've felt. You know, and I so much related to so much of what you've talked about. So thank you for sharing, and I look forward to doing more mahi with you. It's gonna be awesome because I think you play a big part. You and Etero and Fibre Fale play a big part in building that table for all of us. Thank you, sis.
Thank you, Dave.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for the support. It really does mean so much to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment on our videos and share this out. These stories are so inspiring and they need to be heard by everyone. Thank you so much, team.